we should be all set to go, Senator.
Thank you. Welcome. I'm Senator Ruth Ward from Senate District 8. Today we'll be holding a meeting of the Senate Education Committee. It will be executing the bills that we have. Before we get started, I'll read through a checklist to ensure that the meeting that we are holding is in compliance with the right to know law. As chair of the Education Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04 and its extensions, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. In accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are providing public access for the meeting by telephone, with additional access possible by video and other electronic means. We are utilizing Zoom for this electronic meeting. All members of the committee and selected legislative staff have the ability to communicate contemporaneously in this meeting through this platform. And the public has access to contemporaneously watch and or listen to the meeting on Zoom or YouTube and via phone by following the directions and links provided on the General Court website. We have provided public notice of the necessary information for accessing the meeting in the Senate calendar. We are providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anyone has a problem, please email remotesenate, one word, at leg.state.nh.us or call 603-271-6931. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting, will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Finally, let's start this meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state where they are and if anyone else is in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. I will call the roll. Senator Hennessy.
Good morning, Erin Hennessy from Littleton. I am in my office alone.
Senator Ricciardi.
Good morning, everyone. Denise Ricciardi in our home in Bedford. I'm alone in my kitchen, but my husband is in the house.
Senator Khan.
Good morning. In Keene at home, and my wife is elsewhere in the house.
Senator Prentice.
Good morning, Senator Prentice. I am at my home in West Lebanon, and my husband and trusty dog Maisie are in the house in a different room.
And the chair, Ruth Ward, is in my home and started, and I am alone in this room. So first we have to go into executive session. Do I have a motion? Senator Hennessy moves and Senator Prentice seconds. Senator Hennessy.
Yes.
Senator Prentice.
Yes.
Senator Ricciardi.
Yes.
Senator Khan.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. I am suggesting that we take up one big bill that we have dealt with, and that's 581. This bill provides that the burden of proving the appropriateness of a child's special education placement or program is on the school district or other public agency. This bill also establishes a committee to study special education dispute resolution options and the burden of proof in due process hearings conducted by the Department of Education. We heard a lot of testimony. And are you ready to talk about it? Do I have a motion? Senator Prentice?
I'd like to make a motion for ought to pass.
A second.
Who is seconding?
I'm sorry to have to do this. What bill are we on?
581. So we have a motion of ought to pass. And we have a second. Any discussion? Senator Hennessy. Did you have something, Senator Prentice?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and not even from just my own district, but from throughout the state, who have shared experiences that were struggles for them. And I think, flipping this, I don't know if I want to call it dynamic, but this process, I think is in the best interest of students and their families. I know that it's not that there are some within education that are not on the same page with me here, but I think it's I'm erring on the side of those who have already gone through this and those who will in the future. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you. So if there are no further, Hennessy, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to make a comment also. I also received a lot of feedback on this. And although we heard testimony that from opponents of this, that this doesn't affect many students each year, if you're one of those students or a parent of one of those students, this is your entire life, and it's an extreme struggle. So I think this will help a lot of families out in the future.
Thank you. Senator Khan, did you want to say something?
Yeah, it is a question of how many should we act ahead of the study when it appears that the number of hearings being held are so few. I hope folks had a chance to see that.
Yeah.
The number of due process hearings occurred in 2020 were 3, in 2021 so far 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really say what the outcomes were, if they were, which way they went. Just following the number of total filings of even formalizing complaints is, and yet I see both sides to this, and I just wonder if changing the law at this point, where there is a committee assigned to study it, and what should come first?
Senator Prentice?
Thank you. So Senator Khan, I mean, an excellent point. And I wondered about this, that, the numbers may be low, but as Senator Hennessy pointed out, it's actually surprising to me they're so low based on the number of people that I heard from about this. But at the same time, there's nothing saying that if we get this ball rolling and this, committee is established, and there is a sea change with this committee, it doesn't mean we can't come back. The next legislature or any of us can't come back and propose a bill that may even be better for families and for school systems. So if we can't split this apart, I would rather just do it both at the same time, knowing that this doesn't prohibit us from making a change in the future if it's necessary.
I sense a tremendous amount of frustration. I think a lot of parents have a hard time getting to the point where they can actually file something. There are so many roadblocks. When I had people calling me here, and I learned more about the process than I knew before. And it seems to me that something needs to be done. There needs to be a message that, yes, we do care about the kids and their families. Any more discussion? Senator Prentice?
And I'll just actually share, although my case was probably a lot less complicated than some of the folks I heard from and some of the folks that testified. This is something that we went through here with my daughter in Lebanon. And although it was, I think it was a lot less complicated and went smoothly, it was up to me to move it at every single point. But I will say this, I had great cooperation in the city, and she was a fourth grader. So it's a very different time.
Right.
So I've been there, but my experience was not what I heard from what others have had, but I did require a lot of my time as a parent to get this done,
Mhm.
which I would do again tomorrow.
Thank you. So are we ready to vote on this? We have a motion of ought to pass and a second. Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Khan,
No,
Senator Prentice,
Yes,
Senator Rishardi,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. So we have a 4-1 ought to pass. Who would like to take this out? I'll be happy to take it out. Okay, which one?
rock, paper,
Senator
scissors.
Hennessy, do you want to take it out?
Sure.
Okay, I thought I saw your hand raised there. Okay. Let's start from the beginning. Let's take up 69. 69 permits the school boards to provide copies of the national motto of the United States for display in each school building in the district. Senator Prentice,
I'd like to make a motion to inexpedient to legislate.
Senator Prentice says expedient to legislate. Do we have a second? Senator Khan. Discussion?
There's nothing, if I may, Madam Chair,
Yes,
if I may, and I said this during the hearing too. So national motto is the "In God We Trust," and then there's our state motto is. So I don't want to talk about that part of it. Here's the main thing. There's nothing stopping a school that wants to do this now from doing this now. So I don't know why we need a law. I prefer that we not get into this business. And I raised this during the hearing, that there was no, if this went through and the motto was put up and it was challenged in court, it says the Attorney General shall defend the display, but there'd been no action on the part of the sponsor at that time to talk to the Attorney General's office about the defense of this. So the real issue is, I don't know why we're getting in the middle of this. A school wants to do something like this, they can do it now. This does not need to be legislated, and I can't support it. That's it. Thanks.
any other discussion? Okay, then we'll have to vote on ITL. Senator Prentice,
Yes.
Senator Khan,
yes,
Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Rishardi,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. So we have an ITL of 5-0. Put it on consent.
Yes.
Motion to consent.
Senator Prentice, second by Senator Rishardi. Senator Khan,
yes,
Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Rishardi,
Yes.
Senator Prentice,
Yes.
Senator Ward votes yes. So that's 5-0. And who wants to take it out? Senator Prentice will take it out. Thank you. '71. This bill prohibits the Superior Court from allowing special school meetings for a collective bargaining agreement that was voted down at the regular meeting. Senator Prentice,
I'd like to make a motion to inexpedient to legislate.
do we have a second for that? Senator Khan seconds. Discussion.
Madam Chair.
Senator Prentice?
I once again think that based on a limited set of circumstances, as I heard during the hearing, that we're putting ourselves in the middle of something that we don't need to, that this mechanism, I don't want to take any mechanism away that's in, any, what do we call it, bite at the apple. And I just think that this is unnecessary. And this is these are really local issues. So, between schools, if there's supervisory unions and the collective bargaining unit, and we're basically, taking one of their means to, means of, an option for them for, I won't say, I hate to use the word dispute, but to get to have another opportunity that's already there for them. Why would we take that away? That's just, I think it's a local issue. I think we should leave it alone and not take this opportunity to take the issue to the next level away from them. And if anyone can show me where it's been taken away from others, I'll have a different conversation with them, but that's my discussion. Thank
Okay.
you.
So just for clarification, you said taking away from whom?
It's taking away from the collective bargaining unit the ability to, to pursue this further in the court system.
Okay, and you're willing to go against the town meeting? The
I don't think
people
I'm
in the
going
town?
against the town meeting. Yeah, well, I mean, it shouldn't even get to that point. I don't
Okay.
see this as going against the town meeting.
Okay,
Um,
Senator Khan?
Yeah, I mean, I missed this testimony, I think, but I read the contents here. Isn't this an instance where in the first try, the town meeting would have acted and maybe done something negative about an agreement that then gives the opportunity for parties to get back together again? So actually that the local town meeting has had input into the bargaining process, said, no, this probably is not, there's something in here that we don't agree with. It gets worked out. And then on some occasions, the court will come back and then authorize a meeting. Often it goes until the next year, but I think that's the way that this has worked in the past, and it's helped get parties to yes when the town meeting has said no. And that's good. That's a good thing. The process sounds like it has worked in the past.
So let me read the section, the D in the bill.
Mhm.
The court shall not allow a special meeting if the emergency involves a collective bargaining agreement that was voted down at the regular meeting, including a collective bargaining agreement modified after the regular meeting.
Right. It's taking that option off the table, and I think it's a good option to have.
Any other discussion?
Right.
Senator Prentice?
Just want to thank Senator Khan. It does take an option off the table that currently exists that I don't believe to be problematic, and it is not a vote against what happens at a town meeting. This is already in place. No one has proven to me that it's so burdensome and a problem, but thank you, Senator Khan, for your comments.
Senator Hennessy?
I'm going to be on the other side on this. I do think it takes away the people's voices in their town meetings. And if I were to see the outcome of a town meeting and it was against what the bargaining agreement had come to, which I have not seen in that I know of, but I would have expected that the majority of the voters' voice would prevail on that. And if I was in the minority or in the majority, I'd be, that's how it ends up. And a court should not be able to overturn a local decision like that.
Senator Khan?
Yeah, so Senator, I just want to give you a couple of instances where it has happened here locally that a collective bargaining agreement was turned down in a town meeting. And let's take the employee share on insurance as one of those issues. It's a flashpoint. Sometimes there have been voters who have voiced that, no, it is time to rebalance this. It wasn't rebalanced in the negotiating process. It was turned down. Parties then get back together again, negotiate something that adjusts for where the voters were in disagreement. And then it will, if they fail to have that section that allowed them to come back for a special meeting, then they would approach a court. There's one other option that's available to voters, and that's that should the agreement be agreed to, that will come back for a special meeting. It could be on the ballot. But if it's not, then a court would then have the ability to order it if it was a significantly different agreement. And that's what, to me, I think empowers local voters to both look at the original agreement and the revised agreement and attempt to arrive at the best solution that there is for the local community. That's why I think that this oversteps the ability to resolve the issues that I have seen get resolved because of town input.
Senator Hennessy?
So my concern is, and why I'll be voting for this, is if the motion has failed in a town meeting and the motion to have a special meeting has failed, then that's the voice of the population of the town or the city, and the court should not get involved. And just like if a budget fails in a town and the special meeting vote for a new budget fails, you end up with the default budget. And that's how you end up with the default contract. And that's how the voters have voted. And I don't want the courts to take away a local person's rights. And so I'll be voting in favor of this.
Senator Prentice?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Senator Hennessy, I hear you completely. I just want to flip this around and say that we're taking away a right or an opportunity. We're basically prohibiting that for the collective bargaining unit. Like somebody's going to, I don't want to use the word lose here, but why shouldn't they have that opportunity? We're like, the court can decide whether they want to take the case up or not. I just feel like we should allow that pathway. Have we inserted ourselves in other ways, in other places where we've taken that step out? I think about, say, zoning actions, which are different in my own city. I think like you have a certain prescribed pathway, and then if it doesn't go in your favor, you can go to the court system. I can't imagine putting a law in place that says you can't go do that. But I do hear what you're saying, and I respect it. Thank you.
Senator Hennessy?
I appreciate both of your opinions, but for example, for zoning, the court appeal for the zoning is only if a local town did not follow their zoning laws, if they didn't follow them procedurally and abide by them. And that's the only recourse that a court has. And so again, it's the local place. If they voted in a certain way, we need to respect those rights. And perhaps the collective bargaining agreement didn't take into consideration local views on something. So, and they had plenty of time to do that. I'll just be in favor of this.
Any further discussion? Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
The one, it is the special meeting that's being taken away. So the town meeting takes place, the agreement then gets renegotiated, it needs some airtime. But the way that I read this motion is that it takes away that special meeting that could be ordered by the court in the event that the school district had not anticipated the need for the special meeting. So that's why I'll be voting against it, because there ought to be that second opportunity. And I think this takes that second opportunity away when there is a negotiated agreement after the first one fails. So yeah, I don't want to see a third. I mean, this shouldn't go on forever. Indeed, I agree with that. But when the unanticipated happens, then there ought to be that opportunity to come back if all parties have agreed. There's a reason to come back and approach the voters for another vote. So that's why I'll be voting against.
Okay. Any other discussion? Do we have a motion on the floor?
We do,
What was it? ITL?
yes.
Okay. So we have a motion of ITL. Senator Prentice and Senator Khan. Okay, let's vote on that motion. Senator Prentice,
Yes.
Senator Khan,
Yes.
Senator Hennessy,
No.
Senator Rishardi,
No,
and the chair votes no. So that's 2-3. Do I have another motion?
Move
So
on
the
to pass.
ITL motion failed.
Ought to pass, Madam Chair.
To pass by Senator Hennessy is second. Senator Rishardi. Senator Khan,
No.
Senator Prentice,
Nope.
Senator Rishardi,
yes,
Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. So we have 3-2. Who wants to take this out?
I'll take it out.
Senator Hennessy will take this one out.
And Madam Chair or
Yep.
Ava, I think Senator Prentice, since she moved ought to pass on 581, may have wanted to take it out.
Okay,
Is that okay?
is that
Yeah.
okay with you? Okay,
I'm happy to assist in any way possible. Will do.
okay. You got that changed, Ava?
Yes, yes, Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you. 69. Hennessy. Okay, 140 is the private bill creates a private right of action for bullying and cyberbullying. Do I have a motion? Rishardi,
I make a motion for ought to pass.
a second?
Madam
Senator,
Chair, no, I'm not going to second this.
Are you seconding it?
No, no, I really would like this one. I just like to discuss it maybe before the motion gets on the table. That was what I was.
You want to discuss it before we have a
Yeah,
motion and a second?
yeah, and here's the. I'm sorry. So long as I jumped in, I'll explain.
I'd like to have a second and then have the discussion so we can follow the rules. Senator Rishardi, motion ought to pass. Senator
second.
Prentice,
I'll second for the purposes of discussion. Sure.
okay. Senator Prentice, seconds. Now we can have the discussion. Senator Khan,
Again, this is a hearing that I missed, but there's certainly a lot of testimony here. I had a conversation with a couple of the parties that had an interest in seeing this bill pass. I'm concerned about some of the definitions that there are here and the breadth then that it tries to establish. I thought that they were going to come up with an amendment to this that might clarify and narrow it. And that didn't happen. So I still have those questions. And I guess I'm wondering, Madam Chair, are we aiming to act on all of these bills today, or are we trying to maybe sort that some of these we should come back to at another date? On this one, that would be my preference.
We can hold this one over to next Tuesday, if that will help decision-making. Senator Khan, is that okay with you?
Oh, yeah. No, I
Okay.
think it would help see if there is clarification that can be brought to the definitions.
Okay, then I have to ask you, what definitions are you looking for?
Gross negligence.
That should be in
All right, so I'm getting texts that say that it was sent, and
Yeah,
Senator Prentice.
I was just going to add that I thought that there was an amendment coming too. And I'd be looking for, it was sent from a Megan Douglas.
Yes, I got her letter yesterday.
Yeah. And Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I mean, I had raised my hand so that we could have discussion. I was actually going to try to refer this, but if we can take the time to properly amend it, because I think, this provides a level of transparency that I think we've come to a point and accountability that is necessary, but I think it needs a little more work before we're done. And so if we can do that, that would be my preference as well.
Okay. We can certainly hold it out. Senator Rishardi?
Yes, I just, for discussion purposes, would like to contribute to the conversation here, because under RSA 193-F, the legislature has prescribed procedures and actions meant to take place in the best interest of our children in our schools. However, the chapter ends with explicit immunity, meaning that the law as written is just a suggestion without penalty. Hopefully, if HB 140 were to pass, there will never be any lawsuits filed under this provision. The intent behind liability is accountability. If school districts know that they have liability, they will better educate their staff on how to properly report and hopefully mitigate bullying. That's not to say this law would put a new burden on teachers or districts. No law, unfortunately, will be able to stamp out bullying, and no one expects them to. This bill puts into place a standard of gross negligence, willful, wanton misconduct, which is a very high bar. That means in order for a lawsuit to go forward, a parent would have to prove by a preponderance of evidence that the school district willfully ignored such a serious harm that caused lasting damage. A parent would have to prove their child suffered harm. They would have to prove that the actions of the district caused this harm by violating their duty of care. They would also have to prove that the actions of the district caused this harm by violating their duty of care by the high standard of gross negligence and willful wanton misconduct, which is that they witnessed bullying and they knew, knew what they should have done and consciously did not do what they should have done that led to the harm of the student. And one time would be enough. This would have to be repeated, documented, even to be credible. By raising the standard of a claim to gross negligence, that signals to our courts that there should be a high bar for bringing these claims, and they'd immediately throw out anything less. I would note in 2019, the legislature passed and Governor Sununu signed SB 263, which instituted a similar cause of action for anti-discrimination cases. To date, no claims have been filed under that provision, and that's a good thing. Hopefully, it means that with greater accountability for discriminating against students, districts are doing more to prevent such negative behavior and outcomes. The ideal scenario would be the removal of this immunity in 193F would actually lead to 0 lawsuits, because it would mean schools are acting responsibly in the care of our kids.
Thank you, Senator Rishardi. I'm willing to hold this thing off, and Senator Khan, did you want to look into it and get the definitions that you need? And have them ready for next Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay. Do we need to undo our motion and second, Ava?
Madam Chair, yes, I think we would need to withdraw that motion. And I just want to make note, I'm unsure why, but Megan Douglas and Marissa Chase had their hands raised. I'm assuming it's because Ms. Douglas was referenced in discussion about a possible amendment, but I just wanted to make note for that for you, Madam Chair.
Okay, well, let me withdraw the, Senator Rishardi, you made the motion to pass this. You withdraw the motion?
I withdraw the motion. I ought to pass.
Thank you. And Senator Prentice withdraw her second. And we will hold this over to next Tuesday. And hopefully we'll have whatever definitions we need or further work. I did not hear anybody coming in with an amendment, so that was, but I do know that we have a letter from Megan Douglas.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I did not see this before.
Okay, hold over. Okay,
Madam,
Senator Rishardi?
Could I just add one thing, though? We did get an amendment letter, I recall, from Megan, and it was per Senator Khan's request. Am I remembering that correctly? Ava, could you check on that, please?
let me,
I think that's what this May 3rd letter that's in the shared folder is doing. I didn't wasn't aware that it was there.
yep. So Senator Rishardi, the letter from Megan Douglas is in the OneDrive folder, and it was uploaded yesterday afternoon.
That's what I thought.
Okay, since we got it yesterday, let's take a look at it. I have read it and I have it. And Senator Khan will work on something that is considering and definitions and perhaps an amendment.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Here it is.
Okay. Now, 152. This bill permits the apportionment formula for a cooperative school district to be subject to review 5 years after an article to continue the current formula was passed.
Sorry, where are we? This is the Langer thing. Yeah. What bill number is this?
This is what?
What bill number are we on?
152.
Thank you. I move ought to pass.
Second,
Who seconded? Senator Hennessy. Ought to pass. Okay. Any discussion on it? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. Senator Khan,
Yes.
Senator Prentice,
Yes.
Senator Hennessy,
yes.
Senator Rishardi,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. So that's 5-0. Do I have a motion for consent?
So moved.
Senator Hennessy and Senator Prentice. Senator Khan.
Yes.
Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Rishardi,
Yes.
Senator Prentice,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. So that's 5-0. Who wants to take it out?
Take that.
Senator Khan?
I'll take it. Yeah.
Okay,
It's the
thank you.
third time's the charm.
House Bill 182. This bill requires the principal or other administrator of a high school to grant credit for courses and programs completed at other approved schools. Senator Hennessy,
I move ought to pass, Madam Chair.
thank you. Second,
I'll
Senator
second that.
Ricciardi. Discussion.
I think this is worthy of just a little bit of discussion before we. So this, is it everybody's understanding that this is applying to a school program? Meaning an
To what kind of a program?
an approved schools, and then I think it says that approved schools. I mean, you know, we have approved I'm asking if at the hearing you got a sense that these were in every instance a school that is meeting the curricular standards of their state, and that's been reviewed by an education body on a regular basis. Is that what?
Yep.
Do you have the hearing report, Senator Khan?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, Representative Ladd was mentioning one of the instances. For example, you have families who move a lot. You have military families. You have families who move from one place to another. And the kids come to a new school and they present what they have. And in some instances, they have to redo the whole class because it was done in a different grade or slightly different content, which makes it very difficult for kids to get to the point where they can actually graduate. And that's what's his reason for saying that if you have an approved school, you should be able to accept the credits. And I think it's still up to the receiving school to say how many credits can they accept. Senator Hennessy?
Madam Chair, it also has to agree with their graduation requirements. So if you took volleyball and it doesn't meet the PE requirements for the school, then that wouldn't apply. But if you took algebra in the 8th grade and all of the components for that algebra course that you took meet the same components or very closely to those same components of the algebra program in the high school, they would accept those. Or come to an agreement, say, you missed this one piece of algebra in where you took it in the 8th grade. We require this piece where you can take a 1-hour VLAX session to have your child meet that standard, and then we'll accept it. There's no way that a student who moves here that has completed an approved course should be denied acceptance of that course, especially if we already do it for military students.
Thank you. Senator Prentice?
Yeah, yes, Madam Chair. I just wanted to point out that there is an interstate compact. It's called MIC3, and it's the Military Interstate Children's Compact. And what that does, and it's actually one of the compacts that all 50 states belong to, is it solves this problem for military children and their families when they're moving between school districts. So, I appreciate that was brought up, but there is there's almost like a higher bar that serves the military families really, really well. Okay, just putting that in place.
Thank you for that.
Senator
Khan?
Yeah, so we don't have any testimony from somebody from the department, do we? Or is it? I guess there was from Nate Green, who said this seldom has happened. Here, Senator, here's the one that if a student takes an 8th grade course from a middle school that includes algebra, is that high school credit? I
Are
understand it's.
you questioning me?
Huh?
I said, is that a question?
It is a question because
Okay.
it was an example that Representative Ladd put there. And it makes me wonder if it was from a high school, then it would be an approved high school credit. If it's from a middle school, is it an approved high school credit and the school has to approve it, or some equivalency? And I think that was part of the point, and that's what I'm trying to get to. Is there can the school ask for take a test to prove competency or demonstrate competency?
I would think that you can take a look at the content of the course that was taught and figure it out from there. Senator Hennessy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't believe this requires a school to accept the class as credit. I think what this is getting at is if you've taken algebra in the 8th grade and met all the competencies for algebra that are required in that high school algebra course, that you do not have to repeat algebra. You can move on to algebra 2 or geometry or whatever the next course level of work that high school requires. So it's not, you don't have to require them to retake a course that they've already taken.
Further discussion? I don't see any. So we have a motion of ought to pass. Are you ready for the vote?
Do we have them?
We do, Senator
We
Prentice.
do.
All right, I thought that we had to, forgive me. I'm drinking.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion of ought to pass. Senator Khan,
Yes.
Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Prentice,
Yes,
Senator DeShardy,
Yes,
and the board, the chair votes yes. So that's 5-0. Put it on consent. Senator Hennessy,
Move consent.
Senator Prentice,
second, yep,
Senator Hennessy votes on
Yes.
consent. Senator Khan,
Yes.
Senator DeShardy,
yes,
Senator Prentice,
yes.
and the chair votes yes. So that's 5-0. Who wants to take it out? Senator Hennessy,
Was that a yes, Senator?
so now we have House Bill 278. This bill makes unused school district facilities available to chartered schools. Do I have a motion? Senator Prentice,
Inexpedient to legislate?
Second.
and second by Senator Khan. Discussion? Senator Hennessy,
Madam Chair, I will be voting against that motion and be presenting an alternative motion. I did speak with a school district that has in my district, that has a old school facility for sale, and talked them through the components of this bill, especially around having to accept an offer from a charter school. And I think that's one of the misconceptions of this bill, is that you do not have to accept the offer. If they get a higher or better offer in any way, we know now what offers can entail. Especially with the housing market the way it is, the school district does not have to accept that offer.
thank you. Any other discussion? Senator Prentice.
So thank you, Senator Hennessy. That is my number one concern. I know we heard a Senate bill on this as well, is that, local communities and school districts, based on an experience we had in our city, get to, the opportunity to accept the best offer for that piece of property. And that because it actually, it pays back in spades in terms of, well, it actually could impact taxes, if they get a good offer, and it helps take that building off of their, they sell it, and they're not, it puts it into the hands of somebody who, well, they make their money back, and it puts it into the hands of somebody who could potentially put it on the tax rolls. And we did a consolidation and did this work in our city. And so that's where I get a little defensive about this. So if you've got something better to propose, I'm willing to hear that. I didn't know that right away. I just didn't want to force school boards and school communities to just take the offer that is there when there might be something more financially viable for them that puts that community in a better position.
Mhm. Senator Khan.
Yeah, to this point of concern over this bill, on page 2, line 20, there is a significant disruptor to any discussion of an alternative offer, meaning a chartered school will have 6 months after that offer is made to make an equivalent or better offer. That could mess up the alternative deal by having that kind of delay in there.
That needs to be tightened.
Senator Hennessy.
Thank you. I see what you're looking at on lines 20 and 21, but I don't read it the same way. In my experience, to complete the purchase or lease of is to actually complete it. So what I read this as is that if the charter school has completed a purchase agreement with the town or city that's selling it, or SAU that's selling it. And if you look at number 13 and 14, it shall be the option of the offering school district whether to sell or lease the property under consideration. So if the selling school district has to sell it to the charter school must complete the purchase or lease of the unused facility for the price negotiated within 6 months. So it doesn't say that they have 6 months to dilly-dally with different options. It says they have 6 months to close the deal. So they can't come back to the town and say, we'd like to extend our purchase and sales agreement to close 12 months from now or 15 months from now, and the town has to, or the SAU has to accept it. It says that has to be closed within 6 months.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Prentice.
So,
Senator Prentice.
yes, Madam Chair, thank you. Just getting going here. So without this action, without this law, a school district could sell or lease a portion of a building or the entire building outright to whoever they wanted to right now. They wouldn't have to, a charter school would not be the first option. I'm just looking for the necessity of that, going back to like, if they can sell it to who they want for the best price and the best use based on, say zoning, and, relieve that local district of that facility. And I'm trying to understand why we even need to do this. I guess I'm going way back to day one. Sorry.
But if I can just make a comment, I think that if you have an unused school building, to have another school often to take it up, it's perfect for the charter schools if the building is already set up as a school with all the facilities that are needed. So I think this is just like allow the charter schools to make an offer and consider them. I think that's how I look at this. Senator Hennessy?
Yes, I definitely agree with what you said, Senator Ward. And there's also one more component of it, and that is taxpayer dollars. So if we have a building that's sitting empty and the SAU is not doing anything with it, and the charter school would like to use it, and they they come to an agreement on price for either purchase or lease, that helps with taxpayer funds with the purchase price or lease price. So
Senator Prentice?
Madam Chair, thank you. And Senator Hennessy, I completely agree. I'm just going to go back on an experience here where we emptied out, say, two buildings and turned them and had buyers in the wings, and took these school buildings and turned them into housing, multi-use buildings where they had housing on one floor and businesses on another floor. Like the community and made the best decision possible. There was not a moment that building was left empty. These buildings would have been left empty, and it was a good business decision for the district. And in terms of taxpayer dollars, it was a good business decision for the district. That's where I don't want to get in the middle of, because a school building set up for a school is great, but these school buildings have been converted. The old Lebanon Junior High School is a mix of apartments where you used to be classrooms, and then has a series of businesses on the bottom floor, and still has the old school playing fields next to it, which are used for local sports. And School Street School in Lebanon is now a mix, of apartments and businesses as well. I mean, again, it goes back to what the communities, the best interest and need of those communities. And so that was my objection day one when we were even talking about the Senate bill that we saw on this, was getting in the middle of that. So I don't want a building to be left vacant either, when there's somebody who can, come in and take it over as a school, or can take it over and make it into housing. But I don't want to get in the way of that. So that's my thing. Thank you.
And Senator Khan?
Yeah, and I agree with you, Senator, about getting between school district and its disposal of its assets. But the testimony that there is on this focused mostly on the definition on page 1, line 5. And is that a viable definition? And the testimony is that's really hard to understand. And I get it. It sets the bar awfully low at what is direct student instruction? And the instance there was, well, what if it's used by a park district or other municipal services or school administrative functions? So that's part of the reason for, I think, Senator Prentice, your point that are we getting in the way with this definition of what alternative school uses might be? But I gotta say, we have had many instances in my district where facilities have been put to alternative uses, including by chartered schools, and public hasn't had to act except at town meetings, and that's just fine. Anyway, I haven't run into the difficulty of transfer and use of these facilities, and I'm just worried that this local control question ought to be left for local control, and taxpayers ought to insist that unused buildings get put to use.
Okay. I saw another hand. Senator Hennessy.
I think Senator Khan makes a great point. I think that's why the authors of this legislation in that definition of the unused facility said, and for which the school district has no school board approved written plan for use. So for example, in Littleton, there's a closed school building that the Parks and Rec program or middle school program or whatever program uses the gym still. And or the summer program uses the different classrooms. And that is an easy letter on file where the school board can say, and this is our approved plan for use. And it would comply with this legislation and they wouldn't have to put it up on the market for sale.
Any other comments?
Only that in the testimony, there was the question of, is a gym and that direct student instruction?
Madam Chair, so this, you don't need for the school board written plan for use does not need to be direct instruction. It doesn't say anything about that in that piece online. Seven.
7 and 8.
Mhm.
So Senator Khan, you have mentioned that 10% of the square footage several times. Would you be happier if it's explained exactly 10% of what footage, what is included and what is not included?
Yes, I think if the specialty facilities like a theater, an auditorium, a gym, I think that would help, and it would address the questions that were raised by those who were in opposition.
Mhm. Okay, any other? Senator Hennessy, did you have your?
I think that's worth a try, at least, to see if we could get some other parties on board.
Yep. Any other discussion? Well, again, it looks to me like this is something that we need to work on that particular thing and hold it over to next Tuesday. Is that agreeable? In which case I need to have the ITL motion withdrawn. Who made the motion? Senator Prentice, you made the motion? You withdraw it?
Yes,
Okay.
I muted. I'll withdraw.
And the second? Who was the second?
Senator Khan.
Senator Khan.
Yes,
So withdraw the ITL motion and we'll work on that 10% and see if we can get that defined to make it a little bit more accurate and so people understand exactly what space is involved. I will get in touch with the sponsor of the bill and Representative Ladd and discuss this with them. And I'll let you know by next Tuesday what we have. Okay.
And I think it was the School Board Association that gave the testimony about the concerns about what's included there. So maybe at least see if they've got some written words, maybe, huh?
You mean Barry Christina?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can certainly check with him as well.
Great.
Okay, moving right along here. House Bill 282. This bill deletes the requirement that a private school be non-sectarian in order to be approved as a school tuition program. Now, do I have a motion for this one? Senator Shardy, do you have a motion for this bill?
Senator,
You're muted.
I'm sorry, we have construction going on and it's so noisy, I had to mute myself. I will make the motion ought to pass.
And bill
Up to-
number again? I'm sorry. I'm
282.
282.
280.
Is that your construction?
Can you hear the noise? I'm sorry.
That's all right.
We have to work from home. I don't have an option. Still have to live, right?
Okay, we have a motion of ought to pass. So I have a second. Senator Hennessy, discussion on the bill. Senator Prentice?
Yes, sorry, I was looking tentative because I'm going back through my notes on this. So by taking out non-sectarian, this means that public school money, public education dollars could go into private religious education. And
It goes to any school.
any school, but here it's,
Yeah, they're taking it out since Espinosa versus the state of Montana. Essentially, parochial schools are schools, and if you give money to one kind of school, you're pretty much obligated to support all the other schools. Any other discussion? Senator Prentice?
Madam Chair, and I can appreciate that. I just, I went to, I think I've said this before, Our Lady of the Assumption, Bishop Fenwick, and then college is totally different. But my parents, they were not wealthy. They scraped by and paid for, they wanted us to go to these religious schools, and we still paid our taxes and supported the public education system in our city, which some of my brothers, took part in. So I understand Espinoza, that's my hang up here. I think once we open this door, once we open this door, then it's open.
Senator Hennessy?
Thank you. I'll be voting in favor of this. Two of the reasons are, one, cost to the taxpayers. We've heard that in some instances, religious schools are much less expensive than other tuitioned public schools or other non-sectarian private schools. And two, because of proximity, in some cases, not only is it cheaper to go to a religious school, it's also much closer for the family. And so those make two great reasons for me. And again, it's always up to the family and also up to where's a school that is approved as a tuition program.
Any other discussion? Senator Khan?
Yeah, I'll be voting against this. I don't believe that. I think that there are ample opportunities for alternative arrangements to be made with other districts, with charter schools, with private schools that don't offer religious education. And I think that that's a line that's in our state constitution. It's one that we've adhered to. It's one that even private schools, private religious schools have offered testimony at different hearings to say, maintain this line of divide because we don't want to be regulated by the public. And in fact, they are not. They might be approved, but they are certainly not regulated. And if their compliance about test scores and is not clear. And I disagree with the interpretations about the Espinoza case. Again, I think it was specific about a state scholarship program and not specific about the if there is religious education that is required of a student, that is sufficiently covered in that case. It requires a student attending a public school to attend a school that has a requirement for religious education as a part of it. That could be really conflicting for some students. So, and that has not been decided by the Supreme Court. So I think that there are issues in this that are unnecessary to meet the need of districts for providing a great appropriate education when it is not provided within the district. I think there are those alternatives without having to enact this bill.
Mhm. Well, let me just make a comment. I don't think that a family would send their child to a parochial school unless they approved of the curriculum. So there is a choice. I don't think you're going to see children sent to parochial schools where the parents are absolutely against it. So it's a personal choice. And I think we've been talking a lot about school choice and where you want your child to be educated and in what kind of an environment. And right now, the parochial schools and the charter schools are just about the only ones open for full education, which is something else that we have to take a look at. Any other thoughts, Senator Prentice?
Thank you. Am I echoing? Thank you, Madam Chair. Oh, just one point back to Senator Khan's I want to amplify, and that has to do with the private schools, the religious schools. I'm not, I hate to use the phrase religious again, went to all Catholic school, but it is, if they don't have to comply with and have the same oversight as the public schools, I mean, that's a fundamental problem. And we're again putting, taxpayer, public funds into this education. So where's the whole package to align all of these stars versus piecemealing this one by one?
Well, I can read to you from the hearing report on the Representative Ladd. Approved school must follow statutory language found as RSA 193-E:3-B and 2A, 1A, and 1B. They must adhere to the same accountability standards and report to NHDOE and annually.
Touché. Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? So we have House Bill 282, and we have a motion of ought to pass. Are you ready for the vote? Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Khan,
No.
Senator Ricciardi,
Yes.
Senator Prentice,
No,
Senator Ward votes yes, so that's 3-2. I'll be happy to take this one out. Now we come to 319, the school nurse bill, and has been sort of postponed for a couple of times, and I think I have the final report on it. I have spoken with Diana Fenton about this whole thing, and I have had several conversations with other people involved. And you should all have the amendment. Let's see if I can find it myself here.
I go back into the OneDrive.
I can't find my own amendment. I can probably remember the amendment out of my head here, because it's the bill has been significantly reduced.
Madam Chair, I just want to confirm, I'm sorry, I might be confused. We're on House Bill 319.
Yes.
So that bill is actually the citizenship test for college students. That's that bill.
You're right. I keep mixing that up with 349.
I was looking at the OneDrive and I was like, this.
Okay. I was wondering how come I saw a letter from the community colleges. Okay, my apologies. Okay, let me read this one so I know myself what we're all about here. This bill requires university system and community college system students as a requirement for graduation to pass the 2020 version of the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services Naturalization Test. Senator Khan, do I have a motion?
You're muted.
I would move inexpedient to legislate.
I was hoping you would say re-refer.
Oh,
I would have said that.
I'll settle for that.
You settle for re-refer?
Yes.
So
Okay.
Second.
Do we have a second?
we need to withdraw both. Yeah, we need to withdraw the ITL because it was motioned by Senator Khan, seconded by Senator Prentice. So we want to withdraw that motion.
Senator Khan, will you please withdraw your motion for ITL?
I withdraw the motion.
And Senator Prentice?
So now we're re-refer, motion by Senator Hennessy, seconded by Senator Khan. Is that right?
Yep.
Good for me.
Any
Senator
discussion?
Another question.
Are you all set?
Senator Hennessy.
Senator Khan motioned it, seconded by Senator Hennessy. Gotcha.
Okay, good. Any discussion? Senator Hennessy?
I think we did hear some things in.
That was my house last week. During ED&A, they were chopping a tree down in my front yard. Been there, got it. Yeah.
I think Senator Ricciardi put it appropriately. There needs to be a little bit of construction on this bill before it's ready for passage.
Mhm. My comment is that I looked at this thing and I think from the beginning, I had the impression that anybody going to college in New Hampshire had to pass this test. And then I look at it more closely and it says, if you can't show proof that you have taken the test. And if this test is already done in the high school level, hopefully there are not going to be too many kids at the college level that need to prove that they have answered these questions. Yeah, there will be people transferring to New Hampshire schools, and that's one thing. You have the exchange students and the foreign nationals excluded. So there shouldn't be that many on the college level. And also something else that needs to be taken care of is that we can't refer to the 2020 naturalization questions because that is going to change. So we need to change the wording on that. Senator Prentice.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Excellent points. And I also, my concern, I brought this up at the hearing for this, is that I think that we need to also build in here consideration for, there needs to, it kind of be a set, like if they don't pass the test, how is it, take it until you pass it, or are there so many? And what about those who may have special educational needs? Is there, those are the things that that I think there needs to be, not just take the test, but if you, here's how many times, or here's what happens if you don't, because this would become a barrier. I'd like to think everybody could get through this, okay? But if it becomes a barrier to their graduation, I just want to say, like, here's your option. And I think that students who have, education, special educational needs, we need to take that into consideration, or have some language that provides for accommodations, or at least recognizes this.
Mhm.
Those would be my additions to your list if all are agreed.
Okay. Another question I have is, if you take the test and pass with a score of 70 or greater, 70 of what? 70, right, of 128, that's just barely above 50%. Is that sufficient? Or is it 70%? So there are several questions, and I think I would agree with the re-refer.
I think Mr. Cronin's testimony too was
Hmm.
raised
Tom
concern.
Cronin. Yeah.
Right.
And then that was, if it's not through a course, then if it's, is there an online test? Are the answers online? Are we, what kind of test is this in the end?
Right. Okay, so we have a motion to re-refer. Do we have further discussion? Or can we take a vote? Senator Prentice,
Senator, you're muted.
Yes.
Senator Rishardi,
Yes.
Senator Khan,
Yes.
Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. So re-refer. I don't think we put that on consent, do we?
Yes, I would move consent.
Can you do with the re-refer, put that on consent? Okay, let's do that. Consent motion by Senator Khan, second, Senator Hennessy. Senator Prentice,
Yes.
Senator Rishardi,
Yes.
Senator Khan,
Yes.
Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Who wants to take it out? Senator Rishardi, do you want to take it out?
Yes.
Okay. House Bill 321. This bill requires all public schools to submit annual reports to the Department of Education detailing the policies, programs, and procedures that are in place to identify and accommodate the needs of gifted and talented students.
Madam Chair, Senator Hennessy has her hand raised.
Senator Hennessy,
I move ought to pass, Madam Chair.
do we have a second? Senator Shardy, discussion. Senator Khan,
Yeah. I think we've received both testimony that day and since that has said, and what happens? And then we got a fiscal note that says, while the cost may be indeterminate, the department really unclear about what's going to be collected and what's going to be done with the information if it is collected.
right.
So I don't think this is ready to be legislated.
Yeah, I talked to Diana Fenton about it, and she essentially said that the Department of Education get so many reports. And the question is, okay, we have them, what do we do with them? And it seems that we need to specify how these things are going to be used, who can access them, in what way are the different schools being able to get the information, and maybe have some help to see if they can improve their programming for the gifted students. So what would you like to do with it?
I think it needs to be reworked. I would go with an ITL myself, but barring an alternative.
But if we are jailed, then we can't work on it.
Yeah.
But it could come back as as another bill, meaning whatever, more thought out.
Okay, Senator Prentice?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And it does need more work. And I want to just point to, in the very beginning of the testimony, it was Representative Moffett. He described this as like a folder where schools could share policies and programs and information on gifted and talented work that they're doing for their gifted and talented students. But there's also, I questioned this during the hearing, there's this requirement to submit an annual report, and there's a difference between the two. I think enabling the sharing of this information, I don't even know if we need to do that legislative, but I completely support that. It's just what exactly, there was a difference between like what was said at the beginning of the hearing and then some of the discussion during it. So I could support this, but not, I think there needs to be some clarification, because I don't know if anyone else remembers that, but it was like, we're going to share information in this folder. And then this also is or not even also, but is is a report. So which one is it? And is the report the way that they're sharing information? But
Well, I talked to Diana Fenton about this, and she said that she's totally in favor of doing something for gifted and talented students, but it has to be in some sort of an order so that it's clear what do we do with the information. So she said, I'm totally behind doing something for these kids, but we need to know what do we do with it. And the fact that you could just send in a little email to say, oh, this is for such and such a school, and this is what we do for our kids. It probably doesn't help very much for anybody else. Senator Hennessy?
Madam Chair. Oops, sorry.
Senator Hennessy?
Is that okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy to change my motion to re-refer and be the one that works on this over the summertime to come back with something that the committee can work with. One of the things that stuck out with me is that we don't know what schools are doing for gifted and talented students right now. I mean, I know what my local district is doing with the tiny budget that they have in that they present each year in their budget presentation. But I think it would be helpful. One is just to figure out, are we doing anything as a state? And I see this as just a shared, I'm not going to say Google Drive, but
no.
without any security concerns or what have you, it's just a shared drive where it's by SAU, and in there, here's a report. SAU 1 does this, SAU 2 does this. And so we can see, I think that the sponsors of this bill did not have an intention for the department to do something with this or to create a position or to act on this information. I think it's just an information collection. What are we doing as a state? And then after this information is out there, maybe we should be doing something else or highlight one school district that seems to be doing something with very few dollars that helps a lot of kids. And so I think this legislation is a great idea, and I'm happy to come up with a fix that the committee can support. So I would withdraw my ought to pass motion for another motion.
We have a second on that first motion that needs to withdraw. Who was that, Ava?
Senator Ricciardi.
I will withdraw my motion to second.
Thank you. So we have a new motion by Senator Hennessy of re-refer.
And I'll second it.
Okay, I think Senator Prentice was ahead of you.
We're good. Whatever works.
Okay, do we need any more discussion on it? Senator Khan?
Thanks. And seeing as Senator Hennessy will be working on this, just to add, I think this needs to be categorized. I don't think, random lists of math counts and geography B and the enrichment kinds of things that might be happening randomly communicated, it's going to be a mess. So this does take some leadership at the department to try to understand who's the contact person, what kind of order can be brought to the records as they're submitted, so that if there is some use, it doesn't require having to go through a file and paper files. I mean, it's got to be organized, and there will need to be whatever kind of. I mean, the department has no trouble making the information that they have available to the public. They do a lot of that. Question is, how is it going to be organized, and by whom?
Madam Chair, I just want to make
Yes.
note that Diana Fenton has her hand raised.
Great.
Bring her in. Diana Fenton, welcome.
Morning. Thank you for having me. I won't take up too much of your time. I did have the opportunity to speak with the commissioner, and in terms of the concern of what steps the department will take, we will scan all these reports in and put them on our website so that they will be readily available to districts. So that certainly addresses that concern, because we think it is, an important area for districts to know what other schools are doing to address gifted and talented students. So that is one step the department would like to take. If this bill is passed and we do receive these reports, we would scan them in and make them readily available on our website.
I guess, do you want it in a specific form?
I will leave that to your discretion.
Okay,
Take what we receive and we will make that readily available.
okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Fenton from the committee?
I appreciate the electronic folder. I think if Senator Hennessy can organize that in some manner, that and I bet there are school districts who are doing this really well that can probably make some suggestions.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Fenton. Any more discussion? Any more items from the committee members? Seeing none, we have a motion of re-referring this. Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Shardy,
Yes.
Senator Khan,
Yes.
Senator Prentice,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. So that's 5-0. Put it on consent. Motion. Senator Hennessy, second. Senator Shardy. Senator Prentice,
Yes.
Senator Khan. Senator Khan,
Yes, yes.
okay. Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Shardy,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. That's 5-0. Senator Hennessy, do you want to take it out and advertise your plan? That.
It is interesting. Ava, I'm just wanting to, I'm wondering if there's one. Good. I was just going back through old agendas that
Oh.
to make sure that a re-refer motion is on consent.
Sometimes you think about it, you're like, wait, is it or is it not?
Okay, now we have 349, which is the school nurse bill.
Madam
And
Chair,
like
can
I-
you
yes.
share the amendment on the screen for you?
Please.
Yeah, I probably lose you all, but that's all right. I can always get back in.
Let's see.
So I have spoken with a lot of people, and there was not much of a problem getting these school nurses, the certification removed. The Department of Education really does not feel that they should certify school nurses. They don't have a problem certifying somebody who is going to be teaching health in the school setting. Then we went down to the supportive staff. And again, that was not something that the DOE wanted to have in the DOE. Now I am out of here.
Hmm?
Can you hear me?
We
Yeah.
can, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what it is. I'm right back to the window I don't want. So they were talking about having this school support, the support nurse for the field nurses. And DOE did not want to do it. They didn't feel that that was appropriate for their organization. I talked to somebody at the Board of Nursing and they said, oh no, we can't do that. Then I checked with the HHS because they had done some webinars that school nurses were participating in, or at least could listen into. And they did not want to have that position in their organization either. So we decided that the best thing to do was to repeal the 200:29 and take that school nurse supportive person out of the DOE totally. So this is what that is. And I think at this point, my suggestion would be for the School Nurse Association to decide what they want to do for support for the school nurses that are out in the field. And that's pretty much what this amendment is. So it totally rewrites, it takes out both the school nurses and the support person out of the Department of Education. The school nurses will be not certified by the Department of Education. The transition provision still stands. And that was something that was in statute already, that school nurses approved by a certain date, they will still have to start working on their baccalaureate program. All the AD nurses, they have 6 years, and it goes to, let's see, what do we have? August 25, 2025. 6 years for somebody who is already an AD nurse should not be much of a problem to get the required academic credits to become a baccalaureate nurse. So that's how the bill sits right now. So I guess what I'm looking for is,
So Madam Chair, I don't know if I see some hands raised, but Senator Hennessy has her hand raised and Senator Prentice has her hand raised.
okay, let me see if I can get back in here.
Well, do you want me to just stop screen sharing and see if that works?
Yeah, you could.
Did
I
we
think-
lose Senator?
I think we did lose, but she's back. She's back.
Okay, good. Okay.
Every time you put something up, I don't know if there's something wrong with my laptop, I get right back to the opening screen.
Interesting.
So that's something that I need to work on. So you have seen the amendment. And I guess we have to start with the amendment. We had some
We need to
questions
start with
though.
we need to start with the motion on the underlying bill first, and then we can do discussion and amendments.
Okay, do we have a motion on the underlying bill? On House Bill 349?
I think, Madam Chair, you're looking for a motion ought to pass.
I am, yes.
So for discussion purposes, I'll put that out there
Okay,
so that we can get to your amendment and see how that fits in.
okay.
But-
Senator Hennessy, was that a second?
Sure.
Okay, so a discussion, and I have the amendment. Now, you've all had a chance to read it. So what do you want to do with it? Senator Hennessy?
I just have a comment on it. Do we need to make a motion on it first?
Discussion on the amendments, I think is appropriate. Yeah.
Okay.
Make a motion on the amendment. Okay, I'll make a motion to pass on the amendment.
Yeah, I'll move ought to pass on amendment number 1205.
1269.
What?
The 1269.
Uh-oh.
We have 1205S.
No, 1269 is the second one. The other one is not going to be discussed. That was the sort of the beginning one. The 1269 is the whole bill.
Yeah, I'm going to need to withdraw. I don't see 1269 here, so.
Yes, Madam Chair, we don't have that I don't have that in the OneDrive, and the one that we were screen sharing was amendment 1205S, and that's all that I have.
Okay, well, let me just tell you what it is. The 1205 is what they call the transition provision, that the AD nurses have to comply with the statute about when they were hired and by what time they had to complete their baccalaureate degree to be able to continue to practice school nursing. That was that. The second one took the whole bill and talked about the school health services, school nurses, that the certification is removed. And it also repeals the support person, that is repealed, so that takes it out of the DOE. So you're telling me that you don't have that second one? Okay. I know it was sent out yesterday.
I can text Marie and ask if she can send it to me, and I'll pull it up.
Okay. Senator Khan.
Yeah, can I withdraw the ought to pass motion? I just would, this feels like another one that put on for next week, and we'll get the amendment and have a chance to consider it.
That's fine with me. We can hold this out till everybody has a chance to read it, since you don't have the Second Amendment. Senator Hennessy?
I just want to make a comment, and since I haven't seen it, if the Second Amendment has similar wording to the First Amendment in it, it takes away certain provisions in 200:29 that grandfather in certain school nurses who were hired before a certain date, which I am very concerned about.
Me too.
Yeah, it takes away pretty much the whole thing, except the very beginning, that the school nurses have to be able to, they should get a place to practice, proper facilities and equipment. And the one that stays is the transition provision, which is 200:29, Roman numeral 4B, I think it was. It says, notwithstanding. Yeah, you have that in the.
Right, but if you take away A, the intent of this bill from the sponsors is to make it more lenient for schools to hire school nurses. And that amendment that you proposed actually makes it much more difficult and takes away the rights of school nurses who are hired. It takes away :4, section A, which is very troubling to me.
Okay, well. The thing is that the whole area of nursing is really pushing for nurses being baccalaureate prepared. Many of the AD nurses have been able to work as nurses, and obviously at this point, many of them have a tremendous amount of experience. But it's still that thing that if you are going to work, if you're a new AD nurse, and if you're hired, I can read it here. Roman numeral 4, all school nurses hired on or before the effective date of this paragraph and having applied for certification prior to the effective date of this paragraph shall not be subject to the certification requirements in paragraph 2. And paragraph 2 is that whole long list of what you have to have done. 3 years of current experience, Board of Nursing, a registered nursing program. And then it comes that all school nurses in B appointed after the effective date of this paragraph and before July 2022, holding an associate's degree in nursing, and all nurses hired before the effective date of this paragraph who did not meet the application deadline in subparagraph A shall be enrolled in a registered nurse to baccalaureate to Bachelor of Science in Nursing program and shall complete such program within 6 years of the date of this paragraph. So I think nurses who are working right now, they're grandfathered in, but if you're looking to start work after a certain date, you have to be enrolled in a baccalaureate nursing program. Senator Hennessy.
I don't read that amendment to say that. I read it to say that those who were hired before August 25th, 2019, who hold an associate's degree may continue to function as a school nurse provided they are enrolled in a registered nurse to Baccalaureate of Science in Nursing program.
Mm-hmm.
And so this amendment would require those associate holding extremely experienced school nurses to get a bachelor's of science degree for a job that they already are performing.
I know that has been a sticky point with a lot of people, and I've heard that argument more than once.
Okay, well, I would vote against this amendment.
Okay,
just, you
fine.
know.
I've been working with people who in the area would require a master's degree, and the argument was, why do I need a master's degree? I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm just as good as somebody having a master's degree, which could very well be true. But, you know, requirements change, and certain professions like to upgrade. And right now it's pretty much accepted that if you're going to work as a nurse, and particularly as a school nurse where you're pretty much independent, you should have the academic background to help you out. Senator Hennessy? No, I'm sorry, Senator Ricciardi.
I just wanted to say that I called some of the school nurses in my district just to see how they felt about this bill. And they were in favor of having the stricter requirements. What the nurses had said to me was that there's a lot more involved than you realize as a school nurse. There's communication skills with parents, administrative skills, and so much more. And out of all of the ones that I was able to contact, they were in favor of it. So I just wanted to add that.
Okay, thank you. Senator Prentice.
So, Madam Chair, I mean, I'm in favor, the amendment that you brought forward for, you know, like kind of, it should mark a point in time. I share Senator Hennessy's concern because I think that the stricter requirements, you know, requiring a bachelor's, the role of the school nurses, it's just incredible. But I want to hark back to, there are school nurses in New Hampshire that are, you know, associate degree nurses who have been school nurses for 20 plus years and doing all of this already. And they, I think disrupting that, that doesn't make sense to me. I think there's a way to accomplish both, because I want to protect those that are, you know, currently doing the job and have been doing it for a long time, and then mark a period in time moving forward. I don't know, Senator Hennessy, if that addresses your concern, but that's, that's what I think that we could probably do.
Yeah, my gut feeling is that if you would hire before a certain date, you are grandfathered in. That was my interpretation.
Yeah, I think you're correct, Senator Ward. That is what is in the current statute. And if
But
questions about that, that can always be looked at. But at any rate, I'm supporting the direction you're wanting to head, and I think I've gotten the same feedback as Senator Ricciardi has reported. There may be folks that need to be grandfathered in. Hopefully the current statute has allowed for that. And there needs to be a transition. Hopefully your amendment is covering that.
Right. Okay, it looks like we need to straighten something out before next Tuesday. Because obviously that the grandfather clause needs to be in there if it isn't there. So I can double check on that.
Yeah,
But
it does look like it's in section 4A of
in the 4A, okay.
the current statute.
Yeah, okay. I'll take a look at that and talk to OLS and see if we can put it back in. So are you willing to hold off until next Tuesday? Get that taken care of?
I withdraw my ought to pass.
Okay. And the second to that,
With Senator Hennessy.
will you withdraw it? Okay. And we'll take it up next Tuesday. This is what's so great about having these discussions, because you think you have covered everything and it turns out it isn't. Okay.
And Madam Chair, it sounds like there's going to be some changes made to this amendment, but I did send off to OLS and Marie to send over the language. The committee does have it,
Okay.
just so you know.
Yep. Now, I think this is the last one I have. It's House Bill 388. This bill revises the procedure for a change of school or assignment because of manifest educational hardship. I need a motion. Senator Ricciardi, do you have a motion for this bill?
For discussion purposes and so forth, I make the motion of ought to pass.
Okay. And do we have a second? Senator Hennessy. So we have a motion ought to pass, and now we can have discussion on it. Anybody wants to talk? The first one? We had quite a few people
yeah, we did. We need to go back to the.
on 388. It goes back to 193:33. And so we had a couple of parents who really had a lot of trouble with getting their kids out from the present school into a different program that experienced a lot of resistance to changing schools. And then we had Becky Wilson for the school administrators who opposes the bill. Christina Barrett, or Barrett Christina. So I would say that a lot of opposition to the bill, and I don't know what the problem is, because it seems to me if a kid is miserable in one school, they should be able to move to a different environment. But then there was a talk about, then you have to perhaps pay the tuition to the next school that you're going to go to. So I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on this one.
Yeah, I think the thing that I heard is we just changed the bill or the statute on manifest hardship in 2020 as a part of the omnibus bill 1582. And so we really don't have a basis to go on that it's insufficient or not working. But it really, my recall of that change is it broadens the rights of the parent to request a hearing, to try to achieve an outcome that's more in the best interest of the kid, of the child. And so I think we've got something on record without evidence as to whether it's improved the situation or not. And then there is the issue of the cost that it was suggested that most districts in any case are exchanging these placements as opposed to charging back and forth for them. I think that's secondary to the best interest of the child, and that's really what I was looking for. Is there's just not that evidence yet.
Mm-hmm. Senator Hennessy.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I apologize. I know we just approved a bill that allowed or took out non-sectarian. So I think when I'm looking through this bill, it adds or an approved private school. So it meshes the two bills from what we just approved. And I don't really see anything in here that changes current language too much. The one thing that I do want to point out that I think is a good change is that on page 4, line 9 through 13, it gives parents who have children with disabilities, if the decision by a school, district, or public academy to deny enrollment of a non-resident pupil shall now not be based on if the child has disabilities or not. And there wasn't a method for a parent who believes that their child was denied based on their ability to, or their disability, to go forward from there. So this adds in that they can go to the Human Rights Commission or appeal it to the State Board of Education. So I think that's a good route and is good for our children with disabilities. But other than that, most of what is changed is taking out the non-sectarian and agreeing it with the language that we just approved in whatever bill that number that was. And I apologize. We did a lot today.
I mean, therein is the cost difference. But there is an appeal process currently to the Board of Education.
Do you have any information as to how that has worked? Do we have any information?
I would need to pursue an answer to that.
Okay. No, I'm just curious if you knew about it right now. So we don't really have much information how this program has worked up to this point.
Since September, no.
Yeah. Any other discussion on the bill? So I have an ought to pass motion that has been motioned and seconded. Are you ready for a vote on this bill? I don't hear anything.
If we are ready to vote on it, I would not be in favor of the ought to pass at this point.
Okay,
It's me.
okay, let's vote, and then we can let our voices be heard. Senator Khan,
No,
Senator Prentice,
No,
Senator Ricciardi,
Yes.
Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Who would like to take this out? I'll take it out. Well, as far as I know, this is the end of the bills. Do you have any other bills that I haven't seen? Ava, have you checked? Is this it?
This is it, Senator. We just have the three that we're gonna hold until next week, it sounds like, which is House Bill 140, House Bill 278, and House Bill 349. Those are
Right.
all that's left.
And Senator Khan is doing some work on 149 and 278 school district facilities. We need to find out about the 10% and doing some more on that. And 349, the school nurse bill, I will double check about already employed people being grandfathers, so we'll get that straightened out. So those are the three bills that we will consider next Tuesday. And other than that, I don't have anything else. Can I have a motion to get out of executive session?
so
Senator
moved.
Khan,
So
Senator
moved.
Prentice, Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Ricciardi? Yes.
Yes.
Senator Prentice,
yes.
Senator Khan,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. The next motion is to adjourn. Senator Prentice votes to adjourn. Do I have a second from Senator Hennessy? Senator Hennessy,
Yes.
Senator Prentice,
Yes.
Senator Khan,
Yes.
Senator Ricciardi,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Thank you all very much, and we'll finish off hopefully the next three next Tuesday. See you all Thursday.
Bye.